Hello everyone, just Goran here and welcome back to another Planet Zoo real life inspiration video, and today we're looking at the mighty moose. And I had a whole thing prepared on how the moose in Planet Zoo are the North American moose because they're in the North America pack, but zoos in Europe only really keep the Eurasian elk. But I looked it up and the moose in Planet Zoo are actually just general moose. They didn't pick a subspecies. So hey, it counts! So let's look at some moose habitats, starting over here at the Berlin Tierpark, where we have a lovely large habitat in the middle of the forest, and it's really quite nice. I do wonder why they couldn't make it bigger, because a lot of the space around this enclosure is just more forest with no habitats in it, so just make the fence bigger and basically you're done. But still, it's a pretty nice enclosure. What's a lot larger of an enclosure is over here at Natuurpark Lelystad, the only moose in the Netherlands. And here they have a fantastically large enclosure. It's literally just a huge bit of the forest that this park consists of, that is just set aside for the moose, with a moat around it and some fences as well. It's really difficult to spot the moose in here. I did manage during springtime, but yeah, because they have so much space and there's so much foliage around, especially right here is some summer footage from the same area. You can see just how much more lush it is and how much more easy it would be for the moose to hide in there. So definitely a challenge to spot them, but definitely rewarding if you do. And it's great for the animals that they have so much space to roam here. So that's really awesome. Next up we have Wildpark Lüneburger Heide, where we have a pretty flimsy fence over here with this simple mesh that I think a moose could easily destroy if it weren't for the fact that in front of it is also a hot wire fence right there. So that's probably the reason why that's there. Pretty interesting. It does allow you to get a really nice look. It's a very non-obtrusive fence. You can look through it pretty easily, and in my case I can even stick my camera through it and get some nice footage of the enclosure, which is a lovely large swath of forest, some open areas and some more forested areas, giving a nice variety and a really nice landscape for the moose to walk around in. This is a really beautiful enclosure. As you get to the end of it, you do get to this more holding pen type of area with some shelter in the back there as well, which also happened to be where the moose were hiding out. Not on this side, there's actually a second holding pen behind this one that the moose were inside. But yeah, over here you've got a little shelter building, a nice little log cabin type thing. We can see some antlers on the walls as well, and yeah, here peeking through the fence you can see all the moose chilling in their little backstage right there. We can see the antlers are beginning to grow in. I think this was around May, which is not when they're going to be fully grown yet. I actually haven't seen that many fully grown moose antlers yet. I really hope I do someday. But yeah, over here we are in Monde Sauvage, where we have another nice large enclosure over here in this birch forest. Kind of a different look compared to all the other enclosures we've seen. And I was super lucky when I was here. Lelystad was my first time seeing moose. This was my second time seeing moose, and just getting so close up to them and really getting to appreciate just how huge these animals are was absolutely awesome. Yeah, it was so cool that you could really get so close up to them, mostly thanks to them actually standing near the fence. But yeah, just a really awesome experience right there. And then yeah, a bunch of education signs about moose, also about antlers and horns, just like with deer. We saw it in the reindeer video as well. There's usually some education about antlers around the moose habitats. But yeah, that's it for Monde Sauvage. Pretty nice habitat. Let's move on to Pairi Daiza, where we are in the last frontier, the North America area of Pairi Daiza, on the kind of resort side of the zoo. So here you can also book a cabin, book a room in the hotel, often with a view of the animals. Here, though, there is no room that you can book with a direct view of the moose. You just have to walk around to see them. Over here we can see their holding area, their backstage, big old barn, and we can also see a little baby moose running around over here. That was absolutely awesome. So yeah, this is the North America area of the zoo, but we do have Eurasian elk in here, not the North American moose or the Yellowstone moose, any of those. They're just used as a kind of substitute for an American moose, even though this is the European one. Because yeah, the American moose are just not held anywhere in Europe. So it makes sense that if you want to include moose in your North America area, you would do something like that. Anyway, over here in the front, we've got an American black bear enclosure. And then in the back of that we've got the moose, so you can kind of see them walking around behind the bears, which is pretty cool. You also get a view of this enclosure when you take the train ride around the zoo, and you actually get a really nice overview of the entire enclosure here. Again, seeing the baby moose crossing the river there, really awesome. Yeah, it's a lovely enclosure. I really like all the water inside of it. It just looks really cool. So yeah, well done on Pairi Daiza's part. Then next up we have the Zoo of Rostock, where we have another lovely forested enclosure over here with a kind of dry moat in the front, allowing us a nice open view into the enclosure and really getting a great view of the moose here. No fences blocking that. Also this part that's kind of more hidden away, where you get a little bit closer up to them, which is pretty cool. Here again, when I visited, they had some baby moose running around as well. There were 2 of them in the enclosure, which was just absolutely adorable. And yeah, once again, we can see some antlers versus horns education, which, yeah, as I said, you commonly see that around moose or deer enclosures, so that's pretty sweet. And then lastly, we have Zoom Erlebniswelt, where we have this beautiful moose enclosure as well. This one has a bunch of hills and kind of hide the fencing in the back of the enclosure a little bit, which is pretty nice. There's some faux rock work on the right side near their backstage. The water over here actually goes underneath this little bridge to the raccoon enclosure on the other side, and I love this sign over here, "Give moose a break." It's exactly something that you would see if you were walking through the American wilderness, which is kind of the feeling that the zoo is trying to create with this area. And we got a glass viewing area underneath all of this faux rock stuff, and then as we make our way around the entire North America area of Zoom Erlebniswelt, as we're getting close to the exit, we get another view into the moose enclosure from this side. And here you can see their kind of holding area, where they were getting some food the first time I visited the zoo. And as you keep moving along, you also get some views of the other side of those hills that we saw at the beginning. And yeah, this entire structure is kind of hidden away from the other side by these hills, which is pretty well done in my opinion. It looks really good. But even if you're walking here, right, these walkways are pretty nicely decorated thanks to all of the wood and logs and stuff. It just looks really nice, and it's a lovely enclosure. But yeah, that's gonna be it from me today. Those were all the moose habitats that I've seen. Hope you enjoyed, hope you got some moose inspiration, and now I'm going to eat some appelmoes. It's a really bad joke. It doesn't even translate. That's only Dutch people will understand this joke. Whatever, I'm gonna keep it in. See you, bye bye.